our people.
Imam Dani is practicing taqiyya.
1,000%. 1,000%.
He's presenting
the
as
Muslims are laughing at you guys. Like, this is the funniest thing. Like, dude, give it 50 more years, entire New York's gonna be Muslim, and then before you know, it's gonna be Sharia courts, and then like y'all are. It's like shooting yourself in the foot.
And I'll also say that it's Muslim money. The PACs that have supported Iran, or a particular PAC that has supported Iran, is probably over 80% of Muslim American donors in this country.
81%, so 81 of the mosques that he surveilled were in some way or other preaching jihadism and hatred of non-Muslims. And this is in the United States.
The 2011 study, Sharia and Violence in American Mosques, published in the Middle East Quarterly, surveyed 100 U.S. mosques selected proportionally by state Muslim population between 2007 and 2010, and found that 81% contained texts advocating or justifying violence in the name of Sharia or jihad. 51% calling for overthrowing non-Islamic governments, with 84.5% of imams recommending these materials during services. Counter studies claim U.S. mosques largely deter extremism and reject violence, rendering the 81% figure a provocative but unreliable indicator of widespread jihadism. Whatever the case may be, these studies need to be immediately replicated in the name of U.S. national security, because America has a history with Islamic extremism going back to its founding. Thomas Jefferson's 1786 meeting with Tripoli's ambassador revealed the Quranic justification for enslaving non-Muslims and seizing their ships, prompting his rejection of tribute payments that had consumed nearly 20% of U.S. federal revenue since 1784. As president in 1801, Jefferson responded to Tripoli's declaration of war with naval blockades and the First Barbary War from 1801 to 1805, ending in a treaty that freed American captives and halted tribute. This conflict solidified the U.S. opinion that Islamic law was incompatible with Republican government, which later influenced subsequent restrictions. From 1790, the Naturalization Act excluded most Muslims, while late 19th century rulings like Ex parte Marias, 1894, denied naturalization on religious grounds. The McCarran-Walter Act of 1952 retained ideological bars against those advocating government overthrow or tied to totalitarian ideologies, effectively restricting certain Muslim activists. Enter the Legion of Treason. In 1990, Congress repealed Title II's ideological exclusions via a Moynihan Amendment, passing the Senate and signed by President George H.W. Bush, easing short-term visa restrictions but maintaining permanent residency screening. Years later, during the Obama administration, America did a 180, authorizing engagement with non-violent Islamists like the Muslim Brotherhood. After the Arab Spring, the U.S. cut funding for Egypt's democracy programs, but kept giving $1.5 billion a year in military aid. When Morsi was removed in 2013, the U.S. briefly paused the aid, then started it all back up again. After rebels led by former al-Qaeda commander Ahmed al-Sharaa, a.k.a. Abu Muhammad al-Jilani, toppled Assad in December of 2024, the U.S. quickly embraced the change. Biden lifted al-Sharaa's $10 million bounty. The U.S. is now engaging Syria's new leader at the UN and with top officials, betting on his promises of elections and stability to counter Iran and ISIS, despite his jihadist past. And despite the overall goal of Islam clearly on the jihadist warpath of global conquest.
We take the jizya from the non-Muslims, the combatants, the enemies of Allah and His Rasul, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We're taking in exchange for your blood, for your life. Do you understand? We're taking it in exchange for your blood, for your life.
It is time for us to stop calling Islam a religion. It is a civilization that governs every aspect of your life. And most importantly for us in the US, it is a civilization that is duty-bound, according to the Quran, to install Sharia law worldwide.
Thomas Jefferson would not be pleased. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
Here we are.
are. We are here on Saturday. Welcome here, everybody. October, yeah, October. We're still in October. November 8th, 2025. Let me see if I got sound. I got sound. Sounds good. Everything's good. Hope you're having a good evening. We're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff. If you haven't had an opportunity, if maybe you missed the show last night, you definitely want to go and watch the show last night. We had Dr. Bell on. He's a returning guest. And uh, he's a very well-spoken man. He is a personal friend. He has been involved with writing books and different things. But one of the main things is that the globalism and what they've done in the school system and what they've done in the medical field. Um, he has been up on it, and he went through it with autism, much like myself with his kid, my kid as well, and all the things that happens in public school, and the medical industry, and how they're forcing our kids to do these things that we don't want to allow them to do. And we got into the COVID stuff, and we got into a bunch of stuff. Don't you want to definitely go back and check that out on Get a Rumble, YouTube, wherever you watch us at. We're there. Check us out. My understanding is a pretty good show. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch it. I usually catch especially ones like that where I have a specialist on. I go back and see you know how it went or whatever. And I did check the sound. The sound's good and all like that, but I didn't spend a bunch of time. I did get a lot of different text messages from people saying, hey, good job last night. So I appreciate that. And so if you're new here, thanks for being here. Share this information. Open source. Everything here is free. You can take it, split it, cut it up, do whatever, use clips, whatever you want to do. All I ask is that you add me, just kind of, mention me in the comment or whatever. So I get, you know, people coming and checking us out, because we are working on building this channel up. And hence, here on Saturday, we're going to start doing more shows during the week, and weekends as well. So anyway, thanks for being here. We got a hell of a bunch of stuff tonight. Let's see, where do we start? Let's look. We got Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Page, all them getting subpoenaed. We know that Comey's already already been in the bucket. The word is that MSNBC is going to get indicted because of all their corruption and all that stuff. Nick Fuentes, let that sink in. The Groiper is mainstream now. He's like up there in the top shows to watch. 10 years ago, when him and other shows were being canceled, him mostly canceled for telling the truth. Now everybody's watching him. He's ranking about 70% of all these polls that are out on the internet, YouTube, or X or whatever. He's doing really well as far as people liking his content. You might not agree with everything, much like I don't agree with everything he says, and I shouldn't. I should have my own brain. I should have my own thinking. But a lot of the stuff that he talks about makes sense around America First and things like that. And, why would we want a jihadist America and different things like that? So, we're going to get into some of that later on. We have some stuff. I pulled some hot clips for that, just so we can give him a little spotlight on our show. What else do we got? We got Elon Musk kind of taking the blanket off of the administration without saying it. He didn't really say that they were dragging their feet around the Doge stuff, but he didn't say that they weren't either. So we're going to get into that. We got a ton of stuff for you tonight, but let's get into this. That clip right there. If you don't know, that is a downward spiral. Okay, it's called. Let me get the correct name of that. Just give me a second. It's downward spiral. Americans shift toward Islamification. And Mandami gets elected as mayor for the biggest city in the world, the most popular city in the world, New York, and they're already burning shit down today. Been burning shit down all week. They're talking about they got the prayer rugs out, and they're doing the. I don't know a lot about that culture. You know, I don't really know a lot about it. I plan on in the near future, if I'm going to cover it, I'm going to have to know more about it. But they are doing like prayer in the streets, and saying that they're gonna take over America. That stuff's being talked about right now. So we may pull some clips for that a little bit later. We'll see how it goes. I have so much though. I have probably 30 clips I want to get into, a lot of different topics. So let's just get into it. The Charlie Kirk thing has still got me just, stunned. I mean, and I have some stuff, and it just doesn't make sense. And until it does, I'm gonna just keep going around and around about it till we get answers. It doesn't make sense. What it looks like is TPUSA is going down. It's like they're losing popularity because of all this, because we know now that they're just lying. And why would they lie about it if there's nothing to hide? Just tell us the truth. It doesn't make sense. So we're gonna get into some of that. So let's get into it. Uh, Also, later on in the show, I'm going to put a QR code up. Just go check out the store, My Patriot Supply. If you want to support us, you can support us on there. We'll put that up shortly. So you have an opportunity to check out the sales. There's Black Friday sales going on right now, all the month of November. It's on my page. You're welcome to check it out. If there's something that that they have that I don't have posted, let me know, and I will make sure and I'll get it posted for you so you can purchase that. Your support's greatly appreciated, and that's how we keep the doors open around here. So let's get into it. I'm going to start a little bit different tonight. I'm going to start with a truth meme, which is, although the stuff that they're talking about is real, it's a pretty good joke for it not to be a joke. One of those things. Just gonna do it. Let me see here. Let me make sure I'm good here. I want to make sure that I have what I need going here, because I will fuck this up if I'm not careful. Because I'm one man band here. Okay, I play guitar, the drums, harmonica. I sing. I do it all at once. No, what I'm saying is I run this show by myself. All right, let's get into this.
Breaking news this morning. We found more on the Charlie Kirk situation.
Oh, wow. Did they finally admit it was an exit wound?
Not quite. Let's ask our investigators at Jake GTV News.
Good thing normies don't know how strong a 30-06 is, but here's Terry Farnsworth, the dude who took the SD cards, voted sketchiest character of the month. You guys have got to see this.
Okay, so not only does he take the SD cards and refuse to give it out, he was taking a selfie video and the first to pronounce him dead. Like, what the heck? Just ask Candace.
But this second close friend of Charlie chose to run just a few yards away up to a grassy knoll to take out his phone. A couple of seconds later, he takes out his phone and he begins recording himself.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
You're probably thinking out loud, what the F did I just watch?
What the F is right?
Okay, so let's get this straight. He was the camera guy, but who hired him?
Definitely not Israel. Like, definitely not.
Yeah.
The chief of staff, Mikey McCoy, was in charge of the setup and seen mid-call walking away just as Charlie is shot. Check it out.
Thanks, Ching Chong.
Okay, so there he goes. He's already on the phone call. He's just walking off.
Exactly what they said. It's a closed case. We may not have any confession or evidence, but this is what Charlie would have wanted.
Noticing is antiseptic. Back to you, John.
Great point, Tiffany. This would also be a great time to remind us who we can't criticize. Steineberg, take it away.
Thanks, Goyam. Now, according to my Talmud, you can never undermine our right to rule over you, and if we get caught lying, refer to the pizza cost. It's not easy being chosen.
Thanks, Steinberg. Ever since Kash Patel covered up the Epstein files, we knew we could count on him for this.
What a remarkably efficient cover-up.
Right, Candace?
Regarding Kash Patel showing his face there, I legitimately do not know how these people do it, okay? I would literally die from shame. I would pass away right immediately from shame before I would show up to that event if I was Kash Patel.
That's absolutely based, Candace.
Straight up, this just in, Shapiro-Stein said you're not invited to our news program and stop questioning the FBI.
Yeah, it's definitely Tyler. Like, definitely. Case closed.
It's an honor to be here with you today as the 9th director of the FBI. I want to provide by providing a briefing into the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. We were able to extract video from the campus feed. A few hours later, that suspect was in custody, pursuant to the interrogation of the suspect's own father, who stated, "When I saw that video that you released, I recognized it was my son, and I confronted him, and he was handed over to lawful law enforcement authorities."
Is this a new breed of human that I don't know about? Where you feel nothing, there's just nothing. It's like a Josh Hammer thing. They don't feel any sense of shame at all, and they can just go, 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 go. I truly don't understand it because I have to be a different species from whatever that is. I would melt. I'd rather melt into the floor than show my face, knowing how badly I was dropping the ball. The whole world was dropping the ball.
Shut it down, Candace. Shapiro-Stein, shut her antiseptic butt back to the safari.
Just because we fired you, Candace, doesn't mean you can come back and spread your antiseptic journalism. Spiritual discernment gets you absolutely fired in the real world. Now, back to you, Goyam.
Finally, the adults are in charge, and it's going to be the most transparent administration ever, except on the Jeffrey Epstein stuff or the Charlie Kirk stuff, who was a friend of the administration.
Shut it down, Candace. You think you come onto my show and spread your antiseptic rhetoric? You obviously haven't heard of Jackie. Ha ha ha, you're so cooked.
Oh no, producer Berg's cranky again.
Yeah, personally, I think Charlie got JFK'd, but what do I know?
I think it was more like MLK Jr. because we're too busy saying, I have a dream.
That's a funny joke, Rebecca. Why don't you pack your things and head outside? Producer Berg is waiting for you with a pager. Now, Goyam, I want you to meet Daisy. Daisy, welcome to the team.
Israel is our greatest ally.
Holy wow, when did we hire you?
The USS Liberty and Holodomor was a figment of your imagination.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Degeneracy. We're no better than them. Anyway, if you're not following Jake GTV by now, your parents were popping Tylenol like Skittles. You're retarded.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So let's get started. I thought that would be a good start instead of getting into all this stuff, because we're going to get into Charlie Kirk now. And there's definitely some stuff we're going to get into here. This is the thing. So they don't tell us anything. We have no answers. We never get answers. They tell us lies constantly. And so I've chose a few different angles to look at again tonight. And, you know, I do every week just to see where we're at. Now, there's a lot of different, stories out there. There's a lot of really deep stories that are very conspiratorial. I'm not going to get into those yet. I'm still going to just wait because, you kind of got to wait and see what comes out of it. I want to wait and see when the smoke clears from some of these things. But for now, we're going to play these couple clips because I think it's pretty important that we look at the different angles. Like, did you know that they were talking about on the show, on the Charlie Kirk, I guess it's Charlie Kirk's show. He's not there, but somebody's there, and they're talking about they didn't have drones, but then at the same time they're saying that when they pulled up there was drone footage. So there's a lot of different things with that. We're going to get into some of the drone stuff, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I just want you to get an idea. I'll probably skip it forward instead of, because it's like 8 minutes long. I'm not going to do that, so I'll play some of it, skip it forward to the end so you can see. But we talked about this in the beginning, that there was drones in the air, and different people were talking about it. And I mentioned it to some people, and they're like, "They're Jews," and I'm like, "I'm not in that camp." I mean, I get that some people are just everything is Jew this, Jew that. I'm not into that. I'm into the truth, whether it comes from somebody that wears a beanie, a small beanie, or someone that wears a hard hat. I don't give a shit. I just want to know the truth. So I'm kind of looking at it from all these different angles. Okay. I just want to know what the fuck is going on here, because I think that if it could happen to Charlie, it could happen to me or you. And so that's why I'm concerned about it. And let's face it, TP USA is not giving us any information, and we don't trust the FBI at all. And they might be doing some good things superficially on some levels, but in my opinion, they haven't done nothing. Yeah, they might have subpoenas out and all that stuff, doesn't mean shit. I mean, yeah, it does that they are making moves, and Bannon's pretty clear that that people are getting indicted and people are going to go to prison. I get it. We're going to cover it, but for the sake of what we're talking about right now, they haven't given us any information that's useful, so we have to dig it up. And this is not a way to operate the United States of America. It just isn't. And they're going to make up all these rules and all these different ways that they're going to do it because they're trying to protect some investigation that they're not making. They're protecting an investigation for an investigation that they're not doing. So I mean, it's just crazy. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. Shit's not normal, right? Anybody agree with me? Well, let me ask you in the comments. Just tell me, what do you think of Candace? Do you think Candace is off for she's over her skis? Do you think that she's on point? Do you think that she gives a shit? You think that she's doing it for clicks? What do you think? She's the number one podcast right now. She just became the number one podcast this last week. I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, she became number one. So in podcasts, So what do you think about her? I'd like to know. I'm always interested in what my viewers think about stuff that we're posting and things that we're doing. So I'm always interested. So let's get into this.
So my boy Ian over here is reacting to Erica Kirk introducing JD Vance. And I don't know if you guys have seen this clip yet, but you're going to want to check this shit out.
Bet you didn't see this.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against, and he can articulate that in a way that transcends.
I'm just going to say it, okay? Because I know that most people are thinking it. That's weird. That is weird, okay?
We just nickname her like the Israeli Widowmaker. Like at this point, can we just start going with that fucking nickname? I think that's going to stick. The Israeli Widowmaker, Mrs. Erica Kirk. What do you guys think? Can we make that one stick? I want to know what your best nickname for Erica Kirk would be. This bitch is fucking nuts. And I don't know about you guys, but Ian was right. Fucking weird, right? Who the fuck says that? Did you guys read Ian's tweet? He goes, I hope if I die, my wife waits a little bit longer before she says these words or some shit. I was cracking up when I was reading his tweet. So if you guys haven't, swing over there and give Ian a follow. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Just when you thought the UVU shit couldn't get any crazier, I don't have time to download it because it's a really long video. This thing's about an hour and 25 minutes or something like that. But they're going to talk about where the president at UVU sits and what board of directors he's on and how he's involved with the Foreign Intelligence Affairs Committee. You can't make this shit up. Check this out.
This is Goel in one of his pieces he wrote. Today, Garrett W. Gong, who's our Council on Foreign Relations apostle, who made hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting on the board of directors of an oil company.
Okay. Yeah, and if you don't know what the Council of Foreign Relations is, look it up, because that's like, I mean, that's like where it's, I mean, that's,
and the president of UVU is a permanent member of the CFR, which says a lot in light of the Charlie Kirk
and everything happened at UVU. Also, Carnegie Foundation, right?
Yeah,
which is the people who are giving money to Cox. But we're getting a little bit.
Let's just say this. Let's just put it in the words of Ezra Taft Benson. The Council of Foreign Relations is like one of the hubs of this global conspiracy. That's how about take from Benson?
Okay. All right. Anyway, today, Garrett W. Gong regularly visits with Gordon Bowen at Bowen's residence. Despite the decades of Bowen's, I'm going to mess that word up, patronage of male escorts, so he's using male escorts, and the sordid allegations against Bowen that date back at least 5 decades. Gong is not the only Quorum of the 12 member with an ongoing association with Gordon Bowen. Gary Stevenson and Dale Renland, also have ongoing associations with Bowen, which would place no fewer than 4 current, which I think is now 3 because I think Elder Ballard is included in that. So, but at that time of the writing, 4 current Quorum of the 12 members in continued association with Gordon Bowen. What I can tell you here today is that we have many reliable sources who are afraid to step forward, who have witnessed Gordon Bowen and other members of the 12 in First Presidency, but are unwilling to come forward because of their concerns.
Yes.
Okay. Whom I believe. So we have the names, we know who they are. Okay. But we're not able to publish that right now. Okay.
That's the problem with a lot of this stuff. We have people coming and telling us things, but they're afraid to be outed.
Sure. And rightfully so. Okay. So we are at the end. The last question that I want to ask is the question that we asked at the beginning. Like, what motive do LDS church leaders have to support and affiliate with a man like Gordon Stewart Bowen? And like, logically, there are only a few answers. Like, if they're trying to convert him because they're apostles of the Lord Jesus Christ, they're doing a very poor job of it. They've had 40 years to convert this man. And yet all we see in the historical record is abuse, after firing, after financial crime, after financial crime. So if that's what their motive is, they're not doing a good job.
And this is why I'm so glad that people like Candace Owens are actually on this case, because when you start pulling this web, you need a team of people that are putting all of these pieces of the puzzle together. And when it starts to branch out and makes this giant spider web, it almost like there's so many tentacles, it would be mathematically impossible without AI and the right team of people decoding it to put all these pieces together. And so I think AI is going to play a major role in exposing these corrupt scumbags, because it's like you see the TPUSA organization now is allegedly looking like a front organization for something much more sinister than I think we ever thought it was. And I think Charlie Kirk and what he was doing with Doge was going to expose that. And when you start pulling on those money threads and you start going to see where all this money is actually going, and you're the CEO and you have the ability to go, yes, I want to know, where did that money go? And why was it going there? And who ordered it to go there? And then you start looking at that, he got too close to the sun. Charlie was starting to learn too much about his own organization, and they couldn't have that.
Yeah, and that's the exact reason why we do this work here, because there's so many things going on simultaneously. There's so many like threads that you pull, and it's exposing something else. You know, now you got this Gordon dude, pedophilia, and whatever that whole thing is. That the synopsis of what they were saying, but bigger than that, you have. You know, I don't know if you caught that part where they're paying Cox, right? And Cox is the one that was like, "We caught him." Remember, I think he's the governor of Utah, right? So when you take this part and that part and this part, and I'm gonna play this other clip right now in a second, where when they've split it, and this is the good thing about having these independent journalists looking at this stuff. We call them investigators, whatever you want to call them. They're taking these stuff and they're kind of putting it together, and they're kind of getting it together because we don't have an idea. We know a few things. We know a 30-06 didn't kill Charlie because we've seen evidence after evidence after evidence that if you shoot somebody from 140 feet, let's just use 140 feet, 140 yards. You shoot somebody from 140 yards with 30-06, their head's going to roll off because the entry wound is, small. The exit wound is large, especially if you hit him like they said, oh, it hit his spine, went down and fragmented and all that bullshit. It's impossible because if a 30-06 hits your spine, it's going to come out large, right? We know this. So anyway, let's keep going here. We're just doing a few things here around this because I don't want to, keep going down this road but we want to put it all together. And I know that what happens is when we do this stuff, people take these clips and they put them in the file. And they start building this together. So we kind of build a model of like what really is going on. So check this out. Let me pull this over here. There you go. Check this out. Pay attention. Bottom is the security. The top is Mikey, what they're doing up close to Charlie. Check this out. Mikey's texting. They keep looking at their watch, the cell phone watch or whatever, the Apple watch or whatever. You got they're all communicating through these cell phones or through, text messages, through the watch and the phones and all that stuff. Pay attention to this. This could be perfectly innocent, hey, look at this guy, check that out. This, obviously the security of this could be nothing. But it sure is interesting how when Mikey McCoy, when Charlie gets hit, he takes off walking with the cell phone into his ear, right? He just takes off. So if I have my security on site, my security should not be on his phone. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. If I have security, my security should be paying attention to my surroundings, not on the cell phone, texting and stuff. So you have two-way radios, right? What do you think? You be the judge. I'm just showing you the stuff on the top right-hand corner of your screen is the QR code if you want to check out some of our items that we have at our store, My Patriot Supply. In times like this, when all hell's breaking loose, they're talking about civil war, and they're talking about grids going down, all that stuff. I mean, it could happen any second. I mean, the Democrats are definitely on their back heels right now with everything going on, with all these indictments and things happening. We don't know what plug's going to get pulled first, right? We just don't know. But anyway, to stay with the story here, we have the drone footage, which is very interesting. I'm going to show you a picture, and I'm going to show you some drone footage, and I'll play it for a minute, and I'll skip it forward so you get to the end where it shows exactly where the drones are at while the event's going on. And my understanding is you're not allowed to have drones in the area while the event's going on. It's against Utah law or something. So check this out.
This came out late at night, and I have to give credit to Ava and Colleen that are in the Scooby-Doo chat because I tried to get Imani in there, but everybody was sleeping, I think. And yeah, we got the footage basically of drones being there with people in the crowd, which in the state of Utah is illegal to have drones flying over people.
Right.
But we stayed up late and we checked every single piece of that drone footage. It collaborated with the parking lot and even Tyler's FBI footage from the Utah campus.
Mm-hmm.
Same cars in the parking lot, same drone footage in the parking lot. So this isn't it's not AI, it's not fake. Let's face
Right.
it. It's not. We have so much, but I didn't release it all, right? I gave it all to you, but I have to say I'll give credit to the person that released it. It was Universe Hope 00 on TikTok and
Okay.
Eric Ronswell on Twitter. And they did, I think I did send you, there was the timeline of where the drone went. It went everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It went all over. It went to the underground tunnel. It went to the bushes where the gun was. It went.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Wait, send me that. Like, wait, it went to the underground tunnel.
Yeah. I have the footage of him coming in at 12:07, drone in the air. Okay. I slowed it down. I don't know if you have it or if you want me to send it to you now, but I slowed it down back and forth in slow motion. It's there.
So the thing about it is, what we're doing is not really just showing that the drone is there. We're showing why the drone is there and who put the drone in the air, allegedly. This guy right here. This little old guy. And drop a 1 in the chat if y'all have seen this little old guy come in to the UVU facility with Charlie Kirk and all these other weirdos, and you wondered yourself, who is this little old guy? Well, he is a drone expert out of Utah, in Utah. Yeah, he's been dealing with drones in Utah for years.
Yep.
And we looked up his Facebook, we looked up his Instagram, and that's the reason why he's with them, because most likely he is a person that was legally able to have a drone in the air. But why did they lie and say there was no drones in the air if there was a drone in the air from their own people?
Right. And there have been some people online saying, well, the drone was there 15 minutes before. They're allowed to do that if they want. Well, no. The drone was there way after 12 o'clock, way after 12:07, when the students were in the courtyard there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my beef.
And just for the record, if you look at the thumbnail of this video, you'll see a drone view of everybody at the event. The significance of this is huge because we even have footage of them saying there was no drone footage, there was no drones, we couldn't have drones, no drones, over and over and over again.
To address another conspiracy theory. People are saying that Charlie Kirk's security detail failed him immensely because they didn't secure the rooftop where the shooter assassinated Charlie Kirk. Now, let's address this head on. Most people don't know this, but when you go to a college campus, you have to work in concert and in synergy with campus police. Campus police rejected Turning Point USA's request from their security detail to have their drones be used and to secure the rooftops.
Just in defense of our security team, people need to understand that they do not have jurisdiction on the rooftops or the surrounding area. Their only jurisdiction on a campus is Charlie's physical proximity. And they were coordinating with local PD and campus PD to make sure all of those venues.
And
but
also
ultimately,
we don't have counter snipers. We don't have the Secret Service.
Right. Well, exactly. But in many campus PDs do not have drone programs, which is a big problem. I'm actually working on that because it's something they should all have. It should be mandated by some sort of law. And so, anyways, it's in quick defense of the security. They're only allowed to protect his immediate vicinity. They have to rely on PD to secure the larger perimeter.
There were drones, and what we need to know is why did they lie and say there were no drones?
So we drove in, and as we were driving in, Charlie got some video footage from drones above. This is an hour before it was supposed to start, and there were thousands of people there. And I'm looking at the video footage, and I go, Charlie, I don't like this place. There's too many buildings. But Charlie, knowing that the people wanted to interact, and being brave that as he was, he just kind of shrugged it off.
See that? You get the point, right? So there's drones running throughout the whole event during this whole time. They have pictures of a sniper on the roof in all black, not in a maroon shirt. Just everything about it doesn't make sense. So we're going to stay on this. We're going to keep going with it. We're going to figure it out. We have some more stuff here. But I added this for a reason, because I want you to hear what they're talking about, the Senate hearing. It's from last year. But the significance of it is the part that I'm talking about. You get so now we're talking about drones. Last week we talked about planes that released drones that had potential to shoot weaponry from the drones. Remember, we covered that last week. We're putting all this together little by little, doing this work, figuring this out, figuring out what exactly happened, because there's all kinds of theory. You know, I'm not sold on the shot from the front. The only thing that makes sense is if it was something that came down in the way it hit him like this, hit him in a way that would cut him almost, instead of going in. If it went down like this, it's the only way that it could be shot from outside. If that's an entry wound, it'd have to be it'd have to have been like that, But remember, the problem with that is when he got shot, his necklace came off. I know you probably, if you haven't seen it, you have to go back and look at some of my other shows. But the necklace flew off. His shirt went like this, and he fell. And he didn't fall out of his chair. The security set him on a suitcase or a camera, camera media case or something. He never even really hit the ground. He was laying over this thing. We covered it last week. But let's keep going. We got more. We're not done. We got more. Let's get my video back in here. And but this is from 2000 May 8th, 2024. And this is going to be a CIA admit that remote viewing is real. Remote viewing is, where, you can shoot somebody and not be present. Let me play this. Stand by.
If your assessments here are correct, these are very covert weapons, aren't they?
That's correct. There's no entry or exit wound. How they're designed is to make the target feel like they're crazy, like they're imagining things.
And you guys also said that these attacks are happening right here in this city. Is that correct?
I mean, there have been some that have gone public with respect to Washington, D.C.
I think it was Mr. Grozev said, you spoke to a Russian agent who said that they believe that Americans are using these same weapons on them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Might that have something to do with part of the CIA's motive to cover up the existence of this tech and these weapons?
That is a very logical possibility.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Goldman, for his round of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. Mr. Grozev, I want to follow up a little bit on the interactions you've had with Russian intelligence about these AHIs. And Mr. Zaid, I want to ask, and this is a hypothetical, but I'm trying to understand why our government would try to block information sharing or conceal information that they have. And one thing that comes to mind is whether there's an operational risk to revealing any of the details of their investigation. Is that something that you have come across in any of your work?
There's a lot of reasons why the information might not be publicly released. And I do think that's something we could address more in a classified environment to explain that. But there are understandable reasons why the US government has not revealed much of what it knows.
There's some long-term things that needs to be done in terms of new acts. But in the short term, we need to do things like implement the original Havana Act. DOD still hasn't done it. They still have not implemented the Havana Act. And we need a VA diagnostic code. Thanks to the VFW brothers and sisters that are here today and for your meeting earlier, we don't have a VA diagnostic code for the 500 some DOD survivors. How are they going to get long-term care and disability without that?
With Erica's interview, she was asked directly, and this is probably the most viral moment from the sit down, about how she personally feels about the conspiracy theories that are circulating regarding his murder, and here is her answer.
There's other theories swirling around about Charlie's assassination.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
When everything happened, my phone died and became a black hole. I just didn't turn it on for weeks on end. I've intentionally insulated myself because I need to guard my heart. And I need to be there for my kids. And I need to be there for Turning Point. And what I've realized through all of this is that everyone grieves differently. Everyone is trying to figure out, and I don't blame them, how does this happen? How does somebody become so radicalized where they can justify this in their own head? We just lost one of the greatest voices of our generation. Why? How? What's behind it? Like, everyone's trying to process this. And I respect that. But where my heart is just asking for some grace is for the ones who were there that day. They have to relive that every single day. He didn't die in a car accident. He didn't die from cancer. He was assassinated. And the difference between this and previous assassinations in this country, there was no social media. There was no AI. I can't tell you how many fake images are out there of all of this. And again, my only request is that just please pray and consider and think about whatever you put online, because it's going to impact his kids in the future. I don't want my kids to go on the internet one day when they're older and see things that it's just, we're all trying to process this in their own way, and I appreciate that. But just some grace would be nice.
So I think it's a gracious answer, and I think it's a gracious request to, assert first and foremost that people are doing this because they care and they care about Charlie. And also this was a traumatic event that the entire world experienced. And also the reason why the internet is investigating is because the feds aren't. And not only are they not investigating, they're telling some pretty obvious lies, right? Number one being that he was shot by a .30-06 and stopped the bullet, when in a normal circumstance, it would have decapitated him. Like a 30-6 will decapitate someone. And because they've been so ridiculous and then gaslighting us by being like, you're dishonoring Charlie's legacy, people are digging their feet in the ground because it's just disrupts us spiritually to watch something like that and then be told like nothing to see here. Now, here's what I will say about her request to consider the people that were there that day. The people that were there that day experienced a trauma because they watched Charlie Kirk die, or maybe they didn't see him die, maybe watched him get shot, heard the shot, who knows what the exact specs are. This is where it's going to be really hard for Erica to be a CEO and to be somebody who is a widow at the same time, right? Because the messaging that is coming out of Turning Point USA, so this is Erica in her CEO and her chairman capacity, has just been unacceptable, right? It can't be both. It can't be, okay, everybody, we're going to keep going. And, Mikey's going to take over for Charlie at his Liberty event that he has, which is going to be sold out. And Turning Point USA people who are directors of faith are going to be telling you, like, Mikey's got what it takes. Here's what, blah, blah, blah. And then Mikey's going to tell stories about that day, go on his show multiple times. Andrew's going to talk about it. Everyone's going to talk about it. And they don't want to talk about the stuff that we care about. Like, this is what it means to have a podcast, right? You can't want fame only on your command. This is kind of the Meghan Markle thing, right? That we talk about. And I'm correlating this to Mikey McCoy. It's like everybody wants to be famous until you're famous. Okay. We want privacy now. Well, it doesn't actually work that way. You don't get to be like, I want to marry you and I want to be a princess and then become a princess. And you're like, well, I don't want to be a princess, right? It's kind of, you got to pick one or the other. So if there were Turning Point individuals who were so traumatized that day and they needed to go away, I mean, I had to go away for 2 weeks to collect my thoughts about the trauma that I saw having watched it. And a lot of people I know that had to take breaks. I had to take the show off the air for a couple of days and they just, needed time to process. It'd be a little bit different. Actually, it's almost came across like they needed zero time to process and they were kind of annoyed that the world needed time to process. And then the things that they were telling us were lies. We were able to factually debunk things that we were being told. And then you've got people like Tyler, who's featured in this, Tyler Boyer, who you're the chairman and the CEO. Tyler Boyer is a sexual deviant, right? Why do we have to because he was at the hospital, give him grace? It's like, no, this is this is now what's at the head of the company. Charlie's not there. We want to make sure that this company is going to be committed to truth. We want to make sure this company is not going to be telling us that we can't care about this or not be focused on that, because we need to decide whether this is still the same company. That's what it means, right? Is this still the same company? And so I think with the McCoy thing, everyone wanted to stage. Everyone wanted to stage until you got a stage, okay? And people started going lie, right? Case in point, Alex Clark wanted to do the Wall Street Journal thing until I caught like this little lie. And it's like, what are you saying this thing about Catholics? That's not true. Okay. Take the stage or don't take the stage, but it can't be in between. And then suddenly when the public turns against you, I don't want to stage anymore. That would be my response to that. And I do not have any sympathy for Rob McCoy. I have no sympathy for Mikey McCoy. I have no sympathy for Tyler Boyer. I think telling the truth is a very easy thing to do when you have a microphone. And if you don't want to tell the truth, it just makes you look more suspicious. And I can give you an example of that. There was some kid who was wearing green at this UVU event, right? They looked kind of shady. There was a ton of rumors. We got a bunch of emails, but I never covered it on the show because I didn't think there was anything beyond the fact that he looked kind of shady in a green hoodie. And I think it was yesterday, Sam Parker was like, who are these guys? And I can't get a clear image of this person. I then respond to him like, here's a clear image of this person. The actual person wearing the green hoodie then responds very quickly. He's like, that's me. Sorry, I dressed weird. I think he's on the soccer team at UVU. And that's it. It's over. And nobody is talking about the green hoodie. Here he is, Colby Sessions. Hey guys, this is me. My teammate and I were just on campus to get food and stop by the event. We always wear silly stuff like that. Sorry guys. That's it. How easy. right? How easy. He's not like, I'm a victim, call a lawyer. I can't believe somebody asked a question. I can't believe there's interest in this event where an assassination took place. No, people are asking because they're well-meaning, and he just comes right back and answers it, and it's over. That's how easy, that's how quick, that's how painless it is when you simply tell the truth. And I just don't feel that anything that's been easy to clarify has been done. And it can't be because they're in a state of mourning, because they were like back on their feet the next day and giddy and sharing memories and talking about what happened on that day in detail. So, except for the parts that we want to know about.
Yeah, and we're going to stay on this. We're going to keep going with this. Let me get my screen in here. We're going to keep going on this. We're going to figure out some stuff. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm not giving up, you know. And so we're going to move on. I'm going to play another John Brown clip real quick, and we're going to get my notes here. And then we'll come back. Stand by. Let me get my thing open here.
This illegal immigrant came into America in March of 2022. He was given a federal work permit by the Biden-Harris administration, and Gavin Newsom gave him a CDL license. On this day, he was driving intoxicated. When the traffic in front of him slowed down, he didn't slow down, and he plowed right through 8 cars, immediately killing 3 individuals and seriously injuring 4.
And unfortunately, this is something that should have never happened. The Trump administration and DOT asked for all these driver's license from California's non-domicile CDLs to be canceled. And of course, this wasn't.
American highways are becoming bureaucratic killing fields. Is the government liable? This isn't policy. It is a failed get-rich scheme that has already cost too many lives. And at this point, how can it be anything other than premeditated manslaughter on a mass scale?
Texas Rangers say 27-year-old semi-driver Alexis Osmani Gonzalez Capioni fell asleep while driving. WFAA is working to learn his employer. His charges, 5 counts of manslaughter and 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, arrested at the scene.
Police say a semi-driver, Brako Stankovic here, swerved into oncoming traffic, hitting a Subaru head-on. The 54-year-old driver was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators say Stankovic did not have a valid commercial driver's license and was using a suspended license belonging to a family member.
Since the 2016 English rule gutting, large truck fatalities have spiked dramatically, up 28% in crash rates by some measures. Thanks, Obama.
Everyone's seen that big, huge thing in Florida that's making national news where that trucker made an illegal U-turn, doesn't speak the language, got a CDL here in California, and now 3 people are dead as a result of that illegal maneuver. It's the end of August 2025 right now, and so far I've probably personally been on at least 100 rollovers this year alone, and there's always one common factor. 90% of all these jobs that I do personally, and it's drivers who speak little, if any, English at all.
Is there anybody else in the truck?
My company.
Your company, okay. You don't understand English. Pants. Put your pants on.
Yes, sir. What?
Put your pants on. Pants. Put some pants on.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't understand English. What company do you work for?
My company, California.
Hey. Don't you put your hands on me, Hey. You speak English? He don't speak English. He illegal. You ain't supposed to be driving them trucks like that. That's why this happened like this.
Last week, Vivek Sharma went to the DMV to renew his trucking license, but he was denied. The problem? New rules surrounding the process. As he explains in Hindi, only green card holders and U.S. citizens can get their commercial driver's license renewed. Sharma's been in the U.S. legally for the past 10 years, seeking political asylum. His final court case is next year. He's been driving a truck for the past 8 years, but now he can't. When asked what comes next, he says he's worried. Trucking paid well. The sudden stop in income means he won't have money to send back to his family in India.
October the 1st has been my 29th year out here. I have been dealing with truck drivers, trucks, containers, whatever you want to say in the shipping industry. And I have watched truck drivers' pay go from good to because they floated it with a bunch of illegal immigrants that will work for low wages.
Many of these illegal aliens had significant criminal histories: drug dealing, assault and battery, drunk driving, child abuse, rape, domestic violence, fraud, and prostitution. The problem is we don't know what they're carrying across state lines in an 18-wheeler. Terrorists will stop at nothing to harm the United States, and it's well within the realm of possibility that some of these trucks and some of these semi-trucks that are traversing our nation's highway could be carrying toxic chemicals, bombs, or God knows what.
I mean, you're talking about an army here of 800,000 people. Even if they just used a quarter of that for coordinated attacks on the same day or the same 24 hours, can you imagine?
You know, people win wars because of logistics. The faster that you can get the supplies to the front line, the better that you can keep your troops fed. It all matters. And so even without them doing a direct assault on us, if they were able to just cripple our supply chain by shutting down, going on strike, because there are so many of them, if they were able to shut that down at the same time that a large force was to attack us, then yeah, you're already defeated. And so this is absolutely a national security risk.
Washington's not importing talent, they're importing tragedy and guilt, one visa at a time. John Bound reporting.
That tells you everything you need to know about what's going on in our trucking industry, in our illegal immigration industry, in our driver's license industry. You know, California just lets them just go to the DMV and just get driver's license. I don't know how that's possible, because I remember when I was trying to get a driver's license renewed, they put me through 52 hoops just to get to a driver's license. But if you're illegal, you get voter registration card, driver's license, all your classes, you know, class A, class B, class, you know, all that stuff. And so it's interesting that we're shining a light on this now after all these deaths from these 18 wheelers crashing into cars. Now they're shining a light on it. But when they were talking about this years ago, they didn't do shit. Now it's really bad. And, you know, the terrorist thing, you know, I have a clip right here I'll play here in a second. 600,000 terrorists in our you know, what is it? Oh, let me just play it. I'll quote the wrong thing and then I'll have to retract it. So let me look for it real quick. I got it right here. It's should be, let's see. What is it?
He's brilliant. He's going to be working to make sure that individuals who got Social Security numbers in this country should be using them for the right things, and they shouldn't be on our benefit programs. You know, we have over 6,000 individuals that have been identified through their work already that have been on the terrorist watch list, that they are known criminals.
How does that happen, Madam Secretary? How does that happen?
It happens when you put a train wreck like Joe Biden in the White House, and it's going to be a lot of work to clean it up. But just in the last 4.5 years, we've had over 9 million people get Social Security numbers that are not U.S. citizens. So they may be people who have some sort of legal status, but a lot of them are illegals that were given a Social Security number in just the last 4.5 years. That we're going to have to figure out if they should be here, if they are here legally under a program, and if they are here illegally, then they certainly shouldn't be using that Social Security number to be on our programs, and they should be removed or given the opportunity to go home on their own. That's the one thing President Trump would like, is everybody to be given the opportunity to go home if they would wish to.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. You know, and this thing. So I don't have anything against legal immigration. I just don't. I mean, and you know, some are like, "Hey, get them all out of here. Let's start over." And I totally understand. Reagan kind of did that, and when he was in office, allowed that to start happening. And it's just gotten out of control ever since. And I agree. But this illegal stuff absolutely needs to be dealt with. We need to get them all out of here, and we'll start over. And we played the clips for weeks about ICE being attacked during arrests and stuff like that, and the ICE agents being you know um, you know worse than attacked, really shot at, all kinds of stuff. Um, you know, uh, it's crazy how they know where they're at before they even get there, and different things like that. It's very interesting how that's happening. Let's get back to where I was at. Or back to the show here. Um, so yeah, let me see where I'm at. Yeah, this is the one right here. We'll cover this on the other side here. Let's play the Elon Musk clip.
That's the nature of the scam. It's a bank shot. So then the rebuttal from the Dems is like, oh, well, the vast majority of the people who are marked as live in the Social Security Administration weren't receiving Social Security Administration payments. That is true. What they forgot to mention is they're getting fraudulent payments from every other government program. And that's why the Dems were so opposed to turning off, to declaring someone dead who was dead, because it would stop the entire all the other fraud from happening.
And so, but all this, is it trackable? Like all this other
Yeah.
fraud,
It's
if
totally
they wanted
trackable.
to, they could chase it all down.
Yeah, it's not even hard.
And yet they're opposing chasing it all down.
They're opposing chasing it all down because it turns off the money magnet for the illegals.
Wow.
Because it's very logical to like I'm saying the most common sense things possible. If someone's got a birthday in Social Security that is an impossible birthday, meaning they are older than the oldest living American or were born in the future, then you should call them and say, excuse me, we seem to have your birthday wrong, because it says that you're 200 years old. That's all you need to do.
And then you would remove them from the Social Security database and make that number no longer available for all those other government payments.
Exactly.
Wow. And how much money are we talking?
It's hundreds of billions of dollars.
And this is all traceable. Like you could hunt all this down.
Like you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes here, is what I'm saying.
Well,
we don't need to call Sherlock Holmes for this one.
Is this part of
the? We just need to call the person. Is this and say, excuse me, we seem to have the we must have your birthday wrong because it says you're 200 years old or were born in the future. So could you tell us what your birthday is? That's all you need to do. It's that simple.
But all these other government payments that are available that are connected to this Social Security number, it seems like if you just chased that all down, you would find the widespread fraud. You would find where it's going.
Yes, but the root of the problem is the Social Security Administration database, because the Social Security number in the United States is used as a de facto national ID number. That's why, like, the bank always asks for your social. So, like, any financial institution will ask for your Social Security number.
It sounds so insane that this isn't chased down. I mean,
I agree.
That in and of itself that's such mishandling.
Yes. No, it's mind blowing. So yeah, it's crazy.
Well, you were.
Yeah. So when you think about that, it makes me wonder what he's saying, because he's not giving the whole story there. So and let me see if I can do this here. It sounds like to me, because the Republicans in the White House pushed Elon Musk out. Whether it was Letnick or Bassett or whoever it was, or Susie Wiles or whoever it was that pushed him out. It wasn't Trump. Trump didn't push him out. I don't know if you remember when right in the end when Elon Musk was leaving White House, he had a black eye, and there was talkings about him and Bessett got into a brawl in the White House, and so my understanding is they pushed him out. Why did they push him out? Now we're talking about our finances in the United States, and Doge was cleaning that up, and he had found all the stuff. Think about it. He kept talking about how he found billions and billions of dollars that was being misplaced or being spent, Social Security, people 200 years old, or people with birth dates that they're, that in 2028, 2030. I mean, all these different things. Remember, and then next thing you know, his time was up because he was only supposed to be there for a certain amount of time, and then he was gone, and nothing happened. Now, some things might have happened. They might have cleaned up some different things or whatever, but the big picture was that we're going to shut down, all these organizations that were just spending money. We did get what's it called? Shit, now I can't think of what it's called. The aid, USAID did get shut down. And I don't know if that ever got turned back on, but you remember when that happened, a lot of the corruption slowed down because they weren't being funded. Remember? So I'm curious just to see how that's gonna land, what's gonna really happen with that one, because I'm convinced that they pushed him out because that money that's going around, everybody's got their hands in it, including the Republicans that are in office. And so you can't shut that down because then they'll lose their money. You heard what he said. Get rid of the Social Security number, and then they won't have an opportunity to get the money. It'll stop the flow of money for all these different things that are being funded through this Social Security number. Just saying. What do I know? I'm just a conspiracy theorist, right? All right. Stand by.
Are you ready for another uncomfortable truth where I said the quiet part out loud? If the government feeds you, it can starve you. If the government houses you, it can evict you. If the government pays your utilities, it can turn them off. If the government pays your cell phone, it can disconnect it. If the government provides your transportation, it can decide where you go and when you can travel. If the government takes care of your health, it can decide when it's spent enough money on you. If the government educates your children, it can choose what they learn. If the government raises your children, it can shape what they believe. If the government controls your information, it can control your truth. And when a government controls all of those things, it doesn't have to take your freedom. You'll hand it over piece by piece in exchange for comfort. You'll think you're being cared for when reality is you're being kept. Okay? Every single thing comes at a price, because the moment you depend on them for everything, you depend on them for permission to live.
So what happened to the empathy and the sympathy in this country for the people, the hungry people, those who are hungry? Well, the empathy and sympathy died. It died. It died when we were told by the same people that we were grandma killers because we refused to wear a mask or refused to stay locked in our homes. It died when some of these same people came out and celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk loudly, blatantly. It died when over the summer, it became all the rage on TikTok to take your thousands of dollars in food stamps while everybody else in the middle class and lower middle class was struggling, and show them all the junk and the energy drinks and the sodas that you could buy. Okay, and then rub it in their faces and then flip them all off and tell them you didn't fucking care that it's the taxpayers' money. You have the right to buy what you want. Give me that Kit Kat. It died. The empathy died. It died when the same people doxed us for coming out against the vaccines. Our empathy died. It died when you threatened the lives of ourselves and our families and our children simply because of who we voted for. Our empathy died. It died when you went on to call us racist because we didn't want a group of people burning down one of our cities. It died when you called us racist because we didn't want you tearing down our historical statues to put up ones of your own. Like, it died. We have no empathy for you. We have no sympathy for you. It died when you insisted on letting men who dressed as women come into women's spaces and make them feel unsafe. It died. You can't spend years and years and years demeaning people and calling them off at names and sending them death threats and then expect those same people to turn around and stand in solidarity with you because now you're not getting your food stamps. You're not getting your government handouts. You're not getting your welfare. And you want us to go to war with you. This is a lesson in fuck around and find out. This is a lesson in what goes around comes around. Empathy for people online is dead. The emotional propaganda killed it. I just don't feel bad for any of you. I don't feel bad for your children. It's wild, is I am almost empathetic to a fault, to my own detriment a lot of times. But with this, absolutely not. Absolutely not. When you give the government the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. We've tried to warn you on various different occasions that this isn't going to work. And we tried to tell you and we tried to warn you and you called us all kinds of names. Well, now you can shit in the bed that you made. Empathy for you is dead.
Yeah. And so, that's a great lesson on when you got all these people all over the United States. And, I get that a lot of them are lower income homes, for the most part. There are the hustlers that are not low income and they're part of the Social Security thing, like Elon Musk was talking about, and they're getting all these different stipends from all these different places, and they're getting all this money because they're hustling the system, and they get welfare over here, and they get Social Security over here, they get unemployment over here, and they get this thing, that thing. There are those exceptions, but for the most part, what we have is a bunch of people that grew up in society that didn't have anything. Their family never had nothing. They lived out of a food closet. They got, AFDC or state. They were funded by the state. They paid their rent. They were on Section 8. They got food stamps, whatever it is. And so that system continues, uneducated people. And I'm not putting anybody down. I came from that. I come from poverty. Everything that I got today is because I worked my ass off for it. That's just the truth. I worked my ass off for it. But my point is, people that don't know that, that if you spent half as much time, my mom used to tell me this. She used to say, if you spent half as much time doing something positive in your life than you do fucking shit up, you'd be successful. And she's talking about drugs and all the different things that I was involved in when I was a kid. And so that's what I say to you. You think that the SNAP benefits, some of the people get $1,000 a month to feed their 7 kids. I get it. You guys feed your kids, but if you had a job, right? I mean, there's actually these programs that they're still around, welfare to work, all these different things where you could actually go and get a job and learn a trade and go to, trade school or whatever. You don't have to go to college. College is a scam. We know that. Charlie Kirk proved that. But you could go, get training at, what they call them. They're not colleges. They are uh, adult education things where they teach you a trade. You go there and they teach you a trade. That you get a grant for it. You don't have to pay it back, kind of thing. And you can learn a trade. I know lots of people when I was getting out of the hood did that. I mean, I was fortunate enough to where I, learned roofing when I was 12 or 13 years old. And then I worked my way up through the construction industry. That's how I got my start early on. And I think the problem is that we allow this to go on. People have been on AFDC or, which is state grant funding through the welfare department, or, maybe they call it something else. Different states call it different things. California calls it the welfare system. And so they just live there. That's what they do. They sell drugs on the side, or they scrap metal or whatever they do to make extra income so they can make it for the month, because they get a check at the beginning of the month and that's got to last them for a whole month. They get their food stamps that has to last them for a whole month. That's one of the reasons why we have such a bad homeless uh, thing going on in California because a lot of people are on this fixed income kind of thing and they only get a certain amount of money. Some of them don't get that much money, so they'll live under a bridge or they'll live in the bushes or they'll live on your on ramp or your off ramp or some of them just live in front of your grocery store. I mean, there's all these things. But my point, let me get back to my point. My point is we have done this to our population by not allowing people, giving people a hand up in society, and now poverty is talking about stealing everything because every time here you go, every time someone steals something from the store, it causes the price to go up. So you got inflation going up because the cost of shit so expensive, and then you got the what they call what's it called um, uh, prevent theft prevention or whatever. And every time that if you steal a Snickers bar every day, pretty soon Snickers bar is going to cost more money. And so my thing is we need to have this, and uh, Reagan had this in the 80s, welfare to work, that you have to work a certain amount of hours. And I think that Trump has brought that back because I've heard some people bitching about it on the internet, on TikTok or wherever, Instagram or wherever, talking about I got to work 20 hours a week to get my money. I mean, I'm not doing that shit. I mean, and so they cut them off, and they're all pissed off because they couldn't get their benefits, because if you don't do the welfare to work part, work project, whatever it's called, for a certain amount of time, 20 hours a month or whatever it is, which is not very much, but I mean, it's not a lot of money either. That's how, and I remember the difference between sitting around doing nothing and somebody giving me an opportunity to have a job, and how it made me feel so much better than sitting around smoking weed, thinking about, well, I can't wait until the first of the month so I can get paid so I can go get some more weed, right? I'm just being honest. So I hope that we're doing something besides just cutting it, that we're doing something to reform it. That's what we need. We need welfare reform. We need to be able to put people in positions where they can learn a trade and they can get on their feet instead of just taking their funding, which I'm all for cutting the funding for all this bullshit because we spend billions of dollars on, handouts, but give them an opportunity to make something of themselves while you're doing that, because their parents obviously didn't do that. Their parents didn't tell them, hey, if you do something with your life, you wouldn't be a bum. They didn't do that. I know that's so insensitive. I get it, but it's just the truth. Truth is the truth. We're just going to tell the truth, and that's the truth. My mom told me that if I got my ass up off my ass, if I got up off my ass and did something, I'd become something. So that's my message to the person that has nothing, that wants something. You gotta get your ass out there and get it. All right, where we at? Let me see where I'm at here. Okay. Moving on here. We're gonna just get to it here. Let's see. Oh yeah, vodka Pelosi here. So a couple things happened. A bunch of subpoenas dropped, and I know you heard about the stuff going on with, or have you heard? I guess I should say, have you heard about all the stuff going on right now with the subpoenas? There's a bunch of subpoenas out. There's a bunch of stuff with the pipe bomb. They're saying that they've identified the pipe bomber, and it's a federal agent. We'll let that just sit there for a minute. Pipe bomb. And there's a federal agent that's responsible for the pipe bomb. Guess I should have pulled that clip. I didn't even think about it. I'm gonna pull it right now, though. Let's pull this clip real quick, and we'll just roll it, because I mean it's the best way to go. This will take me a second, to find it, but we will find it because I think it's important that we do this. Let me see here. Um, I guess I got to find the right one here. Hold on a second. Let me see what I'm looking for. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second to figure this out real quick. I want to pull this clip because I think it's important. Pipe bomb. Let me see if this is it. I'm not sure if this is the right one, but we're going to pull it and we'll see if this is it. If not, I'll find it. Yeah, that's not the right one, but we're gonna.
It's been fascinating to see. So you're obviously a very close advisor to Homeland Security, and it's been fascinating to see the incredible work that department has done. And I've never seen it more effective. I agree, I think, with the vast majority of everyone in the country in saying, let's find this terrorist, right? This person that planted bombs is a terrorist. And sure, they're associated with January 6th. Go for it, right? I think all of MAGA would, in fact, be in favor of identifying this individual and finding out what the hell they were doing, because this isn't the behavior of MAGA. What's the status? Corey, please. Yes.
Unfortunately, and I don't say that with any disrespect, this is an FBI-led investigation.
That's the wrong one too. Let me. I have another one. We'll just let me just get back to what I was doing. I was looking to be smart here, but we'll just go with what we got here. When we get to we got the pipe bomb stuff. We got a pipe bomb story right here with Kyle Seraphin, which is probably going to be the closest one to the the proper one. But let's start here with what my point was before I got that happens to me. I get off in the ditch real easy. Nancy Pelosi, the subpoenas came out against Brennan, Strzok, Page, and others. Talking about getting indictments. There's subpoenas out right now. They have to appear. We all know that Hillary and all kinds of other people have gotten subpoenas as well, and they're building a case on all these people. And then the pipe bomb story comes out, and we'll get to that here in a minute. The pipe bomb story goes where a federal agent, and they haven't said the person's name for the sake of worrying about the federal agent, the Capitol Police, for the fear of their life or something like that. So that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the synopsis of it. But Nancy Pelosi retires. Well, let's play this clip first, and then we will we'll do Nancy Pelosi thing. This little clip. Then we'll jump in the pipe bomb thing because we're way behind on what I needed to do tonight. So we're gonna have to move forward a little bit. We're gonna get to all this federal corruption right now, though. Oh yeah, this is Nancy Pelosi's city. I'm not going to play all this. I'll just play a minute. Look at the Tenderloin in San Francisco. This is San Francisco. And by the way, San Francisco is Nancy Pelosi's district. Look at that shit. That is fucking disgusting. I mean, and it goes on and on and on. This tape is like 3-4 minute video of just like, fentanyl, people laying, sleeping, standing up, and all that shit. We're not gonna keep going down this road, but okay, yeah. So she retired, or she's retiring. We're gonna jump ahead, and then we're gonna get to the indictment stuff. But let's do the pipe bomb thing here. Hold on, stand by.
The obvious thing is they're going to kill this lady. I mean, I already said it, but the next move is she's dead. I mean,
That's the most obvious path, and that would be really, really telling. And I really don't want that to happen. So lest anyone think that you and I are sitting here celebrating that. Like, we're just looking at the pragmatic approach. We're going to find out one thing, and this is actually the only thing we're going to find out, Alex, because I don't know the answer to this. We're going to find out what kind of country we are. I think we're going to find out, let's call it in the next 96 hours, we're going to decide where Americans are going to be able to see whether we're a country that says you cannot execute like an Operation Valkyrie against our government and our people and Americans who want to protest. And maybe some people had a riot and they should have probably, gone to jail for property damage for a couple of months or got community service. We're either that kind of country where we're going to destroy the agencies that did this, or we're going to be the kind of agencies that say it was really isolated. It was one person. That person happened to just overdose on pills this weekend. And then that's it.
Okay, here we go.
Tonight, just in the past few minutes, Fox News Digital is now reporting a federal grand jury has subpoenaed former CIA Director John Brennan, former FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, as well as others. It is part of the Justice Department's investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. Sources say the trio were served with federal subpoenas today. Law enforcement sources also say up to 30 subpoenas will be issued in the coming days related to this investigation. We'll follow that.
That they raided Mar-a-Lago because they were looking for this. They were looking for the intelligence community assessment, your report on Russia's influence campaign targeting the 2016 presidential election. That's why they raided Mar-a-Lago.
I believe it had to be one of the things that they were looking for. Because look, that report is pretty damning.
Now, critics say some members of the Obama administration could face legal implications for their actions here.
and Biden officials could potentially face similar exposure for covering it up. The CIA director, from whom we just heard, wants to know ultimately if it all adds up to a criminal conspiracy.
To Pam Bondi and our Department of Justice, Kash Patel, and our FBI to investigate the conspiracy to do what and what charges that they're capable of bringing. But again, I don't think statute of limitations are going to impact, because in a conspiracy, Maria, the statute of limitation doesn't start to run until the last act in furtherance of that conspiracy.
I think John Brennan and the FBI lovebirds, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, Jim Comey, James Clapper, the whole lot of them, the whole lot of Russia hoaxes, thought that they'd gotten away with it. There was no way that they thought that Donald Trump would survive, the impeachment, the lies, the portraying him as a Russian puppet, a Russian stooge of Vladimir Putin. And then, of course, the 2020 election, when they buried all the bad evidence about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden from the laptop, and they wrote that or signed that dirty 51 letter, John Brennan again, right in the thick of things. They thought that they had just dispatched Donald Trump to probably to jail, or certainly to ignominy, certainly not to become president again. And it's just their worst nightmares. And I think they probably thought that Donald Trump and his administration would be distracted and not worry about going back to the past and maybe show mercy like Trump did in his first term to Hillary Clinton, but no such thing. And it's not about retribution, even though Donald Trump did say to his supporters before the 2024 election, "I am your retribution." That's very satisfying, but it's more than that. It is really about deterrence. It's about making sure that never again will a CIA director, an FBI director, an NSA director, or any of these institutions be weaponized against a sitting president and against a candidate for office. And there has to be punishment. There have to be heads on pikes. And I'm rooting for John Brennan being one of them.
Are preparing to issue subpoenas as part of a grand jury investigation into former CIA Director John Brennan. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan referred Brennan to the DOJ last month. He's accusing Brennan of, quote, willfully and intentionally making false statements to Congress. Here's Congressman Brandon Gill with this.
John Brennan is somebody who led the weaponization of the federal government against President Trump. He said that the CIA did not want to use the Steele dossier as part of its intelligence assessment that formed the baseline for the federal government going after President Trump. Come to find out, we have found out since then that it was himself who actually signed off on using the Steele dossier. He lied before Congress, and he ought to be held accountable.
Justice correspondent David Spun has been tracking this case for a long time. He's here in Washington. Hey, David.
Hey, Shannon, this is a grand jury probe being run out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Miami, Florida. We're told federal prosecutors who work in that office are in close coordination with federal prosecutors at the Justice Department headquarters here in D.C., and they are preparing subpoenas. Now, it's not new information that the former CIA Director John Brennan is under investigation. We first reported so in July. What is new, Shannon, is there's actual grand jury activity taking place related to Mr. Brennan. Now, it's not clear exactly what DOJ officials are probing, though. Brennan is frequently mentioned alongside former FBI Director James Comey and their involvement in the Trump-Russia investigation. Mr. Comey is already facing federal charges relating to allegations that he lied to Congress. Now, he was charged in Northern Virginia. That case is scheduled for trial in early January. The Justice Department, though, is declining to comment on any John Brennan grand jury probe questions, which is not unusual, as you know, because grand jury proceedings are secretive. Here is Brennan over the summer after he first learned he was under investigation.
Quite frankly, I'm really shocked that, individuals who are willing to sacrifice their reputations, their credibility, their decency to continue to do Donald Trump's bidding on something that clearly is just politically based.
Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Obama, Monaco, all conspired together, all worked together to try to sabotage, undermine, unravel the democratic institutions and structures of this country. the Russiagate hoax, the Russiagate conspiracy, and all of the assaults against our liberties that went with it, the pre-dawn raids, the handcuffing of innocent Americans, the espionage against President Trump's campaign and staff, the removal of his national security advisor, one fake indictment, one fake charge after another, the special counsel, all of it was a unrelenting attempt to overthrow the government the American people voted for. I cannot find words harsh enough to condemn the conduct of these conspirators, these insurrectionists.
People at MSNBC are going to be indicted. No doubt. Going to be indicted. Part of the conspiracy. And yes, John Brennan is part of the brains of the operation. This is how you go after the deep state. Not to structurally take it apart, but to make sure you put in high relief those that have been running these operations against President Trump and the MAGA movement and the country. Been at this too powerful for too long. They're about to get their comeuppance.
Committee set to release a report after a series of interviews with more than a dozen key Biden aides. That committee calling on the DOJ to review all of Biden's executive actions signed by AutoPen and avoid any orders signed without his full knowledge and consent.
And we have brand new video just released as those aides appeared before the committee.
He hand-signed many executive orders, but he did not hand sign all executive orders.
Do you know any of the actual staff who were using the AutoPen?
No.
You don't know their names?
No.
His rhetorical skills were not as strong as they had been, and his speeches were less effective, I thought.
I think it's fair to say within a few days after the debate, he was aware of my view that I thought it was prudent to consider getting out of the race.
He said himself he wasn't as good debater as he used to be, or he wasn't speaking as well as he used to. That's something that he said. He actually spoke to.
So for a lot of us, that's the first time we've seen that video. Aisha Hosni has the follow-up on Capitol Hill with the key takeaways. And Aisha, good morning there.
Good morning to you, Bill and Dana. So the committee is just really dumping all of the information for you at home to watch and see and decide for yourself. But they are saying that the former president was not running the show. And so therefore, his pardons and executive actions made by the AutoPen, they are null and void.
Yep, there you have it. So I played those all together because I'm running out of time here. I want to keep it under 2 hours. So we've said that we believe that we've said a few things. One of the things that we said was that they're not moving fast enough, and I still believe that the Trump administration did drag their feet quite a bit. I don't know if it was necessarily it wasn't Trump. Trump got every time he found out shit wasn't moving, he went in there and dealt with it. Having conversations or screaming matches with different people within the White House. We know that. We've heard about those leaks that came out about him talking to Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, and others. So this is a move in the right direction. Now, subpoenas don't mean indictments, but I believe, personally, I believe that they have the information. They have enough for indictments now, but they want to hear what they have to say in hopes that they get somebody to roll over on the other ones. And that's probably what will happen. That's probably what Brennan's going to do, or Clapper, one of them. They're going to just sing like a bird. So it'd be interesting to see how this turns out. I mean, I really think that with the pipe bomb information that's dropped, we're going to know within the next day. Probably know now, and I haven't found it. But we'll know more information by, Tuesday at least, what is going on. They said 96 hours, and that was yesterday. So, probably by the end of the weekend, we'll know exactly what this whole thing looks like. But you heard what Seraphin said, that they're concerned about her being assassinated because, what do they do to people that are loose? They're what do you call it? Loose ends. They get rid of loose ends, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll pray for her safety. That's for sure. We're gonna move on here. So we have this AI race happening, and one of the things that is going to happen is a lot of people in the uh, in the workforce are going to lose their jobs. They're talking about in the next 3 to 4 years, AI is going to take over. So if you're a desk jockey, very possible that your job's gonna get taken over by AI. It's they've been talking about it for several years now. Even Elon Musk was talking about it, and now Mike Adams is talking about how close AI is to taking over jobs, like using automation to do everything that can be done at a desk. And unless you're a AI person that you know your way around AI, your job's going to get deleted. But if you can program the AI, then you'll keep your job, or you'll be able to have a job doing that. It's like when computers came out and they said that you need to be able to code in order to have a job. Remember that? And coders, were able to get jobs where other people that didn't know how to work on computers, do anything with computers, lost their jobs, and they ended up having to go to construction back in the early early 90s, late 90s, whatever it was. So let's listen to this from Mike Adams. So let me get my screen over here so we don't miss any of it. And then stand by. Let's see. I got 2 clips. There you go.
Now, we are about to see in our economy, we're going to see the K-shaped economy, as they say, where the upper line of the K, that's going to be people who know how to use technology, and they will be abundant. They will live in that abundance era that Elon Musk is describing. If you know how to augment your intelligence, your business ideas, your entrepreneurship, your skill set, your interest using AI, you're going to do very, very well. The lower leg of that K-shaped economy is going to be the people who got left behind, the people who have very few skills that are obsolete. Those people are going to lose their jobs by the tens of millions in America over the next few years. Even worse, Alex, on the Eastern power grid, which powers 13 states, they have raised the power rates for the people in order to subsidize the power grid infrastructure build out for the data centers.
They are gouging humans to give basically free power to AI for the data centers.
Humans are going to be de-emphasized in the economy. Humans are going to be taxed to build the AI infrastructure, and then humans are going to be exterminated as soon as the AI.
So humans are going to level up, come together, and unify, or we're done. This is going to make us greater, though.
10 years ago, most data scientists thought that AGI would not be achieved until the year 2045 or 2050, and I'm telling you that it exists right now in 2025. And it's just not rolled out yet. In other words, AI cognition has already achieved AGI levels, but it's not evenly distributed. And what that means, and this is why I sent the notes over for today's show, what that means is that beginning next year, and actually it's already started this year with Amazon layoffs and so on, almost any human worker sitting at a desk that does almost anything with a computer, a keyboard, and a mouse will be replaced by agentic AI in the years ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty sad right there. When you think about that, I mean, just being completely replaced by genetic, I can't pronounce it. AI. It's horrible. I mean, when you think about it, it's absolutely horrible. So I'm going to play this report real quick. I got to jump and take a leak real quick, then we'll get back to this. We're going to get into the Nick Fuentes stuff. We have a whole bunch on this, and this is shocking for this racist, bigot, whatever the hell they were calling him, all the different things that they called him when they deplatformed him, debanked him, and did all that stuff. Now he's been found to be right about America First, right? And we're going to get into that. But first, we're going to watch we're going to run this clip right here. It's a report from John Bound. I'll be right back in a minute. Stand by.
Trump has come out, and Trump tends to do what he says he's going to do. He's very serious about things.
The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. It's not only Nigeria, it's all over. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. This is not going to happen. The killing of Christians is not going to happen.
And that's the religion of peace.
The entire purpose of Islam, according to all Islamic doctrine, is to ensure that there is an Islamic state throughout the entire world called a caliphate, and under that, Sharia or Islamic law is the law of the land. That's it. Islam breaks the entire world into two parts. The Dar al-Islam, where Sharia is the law of the land, and the Dar al-Harb, the house or abode of war, where there is not Sharia as the law of the land. The function of Islam is to eliminate the Dar al-Harb until the entire world is a Dar al-Islam. And the vehicle to do that is called what? Jihad, which in 100% of all published Islamic law is only defined as warfare against non-Muslims.
It is the government's fault, isn't it? They took away stop and search because of woke. They actually stopped policing the dealing and possession of psychosis-inducing drugs within certain communities because of woke. They leave our borders wide open, enabling foreign cartels to run organized crime, leading to violence on our streets, from snatchings to muggings to stabbings, because of woke. They've imported in tens of thousands of misogynistic men who want to assault, abuse, leer at, harass, even rape our women and girls, because of woke.
The government says it's not terrorism, because Islamic terrorism does not exist, and you will be arrested if you say it.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the electronic communications network.
What? Over 12,000 people per year are arrested in the UK because of their social media posts. That's over 1,000 people per month detained and questioned because they're believed to have caused distress, offence, annoyance, or anxiety, not even necessarily to a specific victim, but it can be to society at large. This is under Section 127 of the Communications Act and Section 1 of the Malicious Communications Act.
Listen, you have to resign, Keir Starmer, and there needs to be a general election in the UK. You are not protecting the British people. How many people have to die? How many innocent Britons have to die before you'll get your shit together?
So Keir Starmer has said it's deeply concerning what happened in Huntingdon, Cambridgeshire on the train tonight, where 9 people are fighting for their life. Deeply concerning, is it? Not disgusting, not outrageous, not this shouldn't be happening.
And the problem that you've got is when you're a psychopath, for whatever reason, you as an innocent person don't have to do anything to wind them up and find yourself stabbed in the head. Normally, if you get into a fight, some kind of altercation, what it means is you've had some kind of row. So you're prepared for some kind of row or road rage row where that person might jump out the car for a fight, but you know what's coming. But if you're just a psychopath, you don't have to wind them up. They're already wound up.
Of course, your Home Secretary, this lady Mahmoud, doesn't want you to comment and speculate on the matter. Well, excuse me, it kind of looks like the real racists in the UK are Muslim people who hate white Christians, who want to stab them in these kinds of horrific attacks. You don't see white people doing this.
As the Quran says, God does not burden any soul with more than it can bear. We hope that you have a blessed and fulfilling Ramadan. Peace be upon you all.
As we've taken over the country, officially England's over.
Allahu Akbar. A man has just been charged with murdering a woman who is let out of jail early by Keir Starmer under his early release scheme. He's let out 38,000 criminals and he's planning to let out 10,000 more. When he started this, he was warned by MI5, by the National Crime Agency, by the heads of our police forces that he was going to endanger the public. But he did it anyway. Keir Starmer has unleashed a crime wave on our streets, and people are already feeling the terrible consequences.
You're supposed to let them stab you. This is all done on purpose.
All right. You know, what happens over there happens here in about 3 years, but they're on a they're already over here. The laws, Islamic Caliphate, and all those jihadis and all that stuff, they're already here. So you see all the stuff happening over there in the UK and different places, in Switzerland, all these different places. It's coming here. It's already here. They've taken over Minnesota, parts of Minnesota. Now they're in New York. They just got a mayor in New York. You need to be concerned about this. Just need to be concerned. They got Dearborn. That town there is, they have prayer rituals that go on at midnight. I hope you don't, not trying to sleep at night because they run it over the loudspeaker. Anyway, we're keeping our eye on this. I'm going to start doing more research on exactly what this looks like and what this really is, and then we'll report on it later. In the top right corner there is or the top corner there is a QR code. Please go to our link tree and check out the supplies that we have there. We have a 90 day a food kit, good for 25 years. It's got all the essentials for 2,000 calorie diet for 90 days. It's 40% off. Check it out. We also have a power grid there. We have a really good generator on there. We have a bunch of other stuff too, but just check it out. Please support the channel. All right. So, Nick Fuentes, whether you like him or not, whether you like the rhetoric or the way he says what he says when he says it, it doesn't really matter what people think about people. They should all have a platform. You agree with that? I think that everyone should have an opportunity to say whatever the hell they want. The United States is a free country. You're supposed to have a First Amendment. You're supposed to say whatever you want, even if it is offensive. I think that for us to, especially men, to be offended about what other people say is very, very weak, right? I think that if you don't like it, don't watch it, right? But he shouldn't be canceled. Ben Shapiro's out there trying to get him canceled, doing all this stuff, and all the, that's what they do though. When they don't like if they hear something they don't like, they want to, do these pressure campaigns to get other people to cancel someone because they don't like what they say, which is really ridiculous. So we're going to get into this right now. We're going to start though. Right here. Stand by.
This is so fucked. The Zionists, they are diabolical. The top donor to AIPAC is OnlyFans. $11 million in 1 year. So not only do they use that OnlyFans to degrade our society and debase our women and just fuck shit up, but they're using that to suck money out of us to then use that money to bribe our politicians and create propaganda to feed on us so that they can steal our tax dollars and use our military to, bomb Iran and fucking run Epstein, like Epstein, Charlie, Iran, everything we were upset with Trump about, it's all Zionist related, all of it. And if you think if the OnlyFans thing, right? And that money, if you think that Epstein is being covered up because of the child trafficking, it's not. You're allowed to talk about child trafficking, right? Like why they are covering up the Epstein is because of the amount of money it moved and what that money was used for. That's why Epstein is being covered up. It is not because of the fucking sex trafficking. But you're allowed to talk about the sex trafficking. One thing you are not allowed to talk about is how much money Epstein was moving and what he was doing with that, all the way back to Iran-Contra. Dude, this shit is absolutely fucked, and it's all coming to a head. Like, this is all out in the open. We all know it. And that's why it's even Charlie. Look at the top donors to TPUSA and the top donors to AIPAC, and then ask AI to correlate the two. Guess what? You're going to find a lot of correlations. TPUSA was getting 25% of their money, which 25%, dude, they were pulling in $395 million a year. 25% of that was coming from pro-Israel Zionists. And you're like, why do people think that the Zionists would have killed Charlie? Because they were paying him. They were paying him fuckloads. And that dude had the biggest brass balls to stand up there and go like, I no longer support the pro-Israel cause. And then you wonder why they killed him. He's not just some dude that's out there. No, dude, he is the... Charlie took more money from the Zionists than AIPAC did. Like, that's how that fucking works. And how would you think that the fucking Zionists would feel if AIPAC suddenly turned on them? Like, there's the money, the motivation, all of it, dude. This is so fucked, and it's all coming out into the head. And Nick Fuentes, he is right. Nick Fuentes came out. All the Republicans are freaking out, and he's like, if you want me to back J.D. Vance in 2028 and he's going to kiss the wall and hold for Israel, then I'm out. And I'm taking everybody with me. And that's 10 toes down on everything that is fucked up in this society. It comes from that. No more money for foreign wars. I stand with Nick Fuentes on that shit. If you kiss that wall, you do not get my vote, irregardless. And if the Republicans, I seen other Republicans like freaking out. They're like, "Yo, Nick, you can't do that. If you do that, you're gonna hand power to the Democrats." It's like, no, the Republicans will hand power to the Democrats. J.D. Vance, if J.D. Vance wants to kiss the wall, then he puts Israel above this country. Because if you put this country first, you wouldn't go kiss that wall, especially if you know you got to meet the voters. And if the voters are like, we're not voting for anybody who kisses the wall, then you can't kiss the wall if you want the votes. That's how it works. You don't get to tell, the politicians do not tell the Americans like what we're going to support. We tell you what we support and you're to represent us. So when the majority of American is like, fuck Israel and fuck all the foreign countries, it's America first, that's what you have to become if you want that vote. So J.D. Vance, brother, that's it. You want 2028? Anybody who wants 2028, you're going to have to fucking be like, fuck your wall. We're going to build a wall here. Fuck kissing the wall? How about we build one? This is all out in the open now. These are things you could never talk about before, and now here we are. Makes me feel good. It's fucked up to learn that shit, but then you're like, now I've learned it, and now everybody else is learning it. And before you couldn't even talk about it. Welcome to the revolution. Good luck to you all. Long live the Republic.
Hitler has been used as a buzzword for 80 years to prevent anybody from talking about any of this. Whenever anybody says that Jewish people have too much influence in the Western world, they say Hitler. Whenever somebody says it's maybe a bad idea for America to become majority non-white, people say Hitler. Whenever anybody says we need a strong executive that can actually do things, that can actually send people back over the border, they say Hitler. So we're defanging that. That has no power over us. Hitler, Nazi, these are particular words from a particular time that hold no weight over us. That holds no weight over me. I'll call them cool. I'll say the uniforms look cool. I'll say whatever I want about it. That's not my moral language. I don't care about any of that. We want the fathers back in the home. We want God back in society. We want the nation to be strong. And yes, by the way, we want the country to be majority white. And you can say Hitler until you're blue in the face. I still want those things. I don't care. Nobody cares. Let's just stop for a moment and say, this is a triumph. This is a breakthrough. This is a massive victory for America First. For 10 years, I was canceled. For 10 years, I was blacklisted under a false pretense. A story which I told in the interview, and now it's finally getting out. It's a story that people didn't know. It's a story my own family didn't know. Of course, except my parents, obviously, they knew. But I can't tell you how many people, and I've seen this from influencers, I've also heard it from people in my life, They tell me I did not even know that you were a normal conservative, mainstream, generic normie, and Ben Shapiro tried to cancel you when you were a freshman in college, when you were 18 years old. They didn't even know. And this is like it's like the Revenant. It's like Gladiator. It's like one of these classic movies where the hero is totally knifed in the back and left to die. And it's this remarkable journey where you have to repair your reputation or come back from the dead or the brink of death in a certain sense. From the time I was 18 years old, I had Shapiro, Cabot Phillips, Cassie Dillon, Right Wing Watch, Media Matters, the ADL, the SPLC, lying about me, trying to make it out like I'm a bad person, like I'm evil, like I'm this psycho skinhead or something, like I hate everybody and I'm like this wannabe mass murderer. They made my high school friends hate me. My high school friends wouldn't talk to me because of this reputational destruction. They made me unemployable. They banned me from CPAC. I mean, it was ridiculous. And so it's a triumph that after 10 years of this totally malicious, defamatory character assassination campaign, I was finally able to speak for myself in my own words. Somebody invited me on the platform to just hear me out. People have said so much about me, and I was not able to reply because I was censored. For 10 years, I was banned from every platform while they lied about me. They banned me, they silenced my voice, and then they took clips out of context and said, he's evil. And finally, someone said, I'll talk to you. I want to know what you're about. Tell me what you think. And I was able to just say, these are my views. And I think it's remarkable that we have reached a point in our country when that is even possible. Because for so long, like I said, for 10 years, you literally did not have the freedom of conscience. You couldn't think these things. You could not speak these things aloud. It wasn't possible. You would get banned from everything. And if that didn't work, you got fired from your job. And if that didn't work, they banned you from banks. That's what happened to me. We need to distinguish between criticism of Israeli policy and the slippery slope towards real anti-Semitism. He said we can tolerate criticism of Israeli policy. We can't tolerate the latter. I've been trying to tell you this forever, and people told me it was convoluted. People said, why would you criticize Tucker when he's 100% on our side? And I would tell people, he doesn't agree with us 100%. Why? Because, and listen, I like Tucker. I do consider Tucker a fellow traveler, but there are disagreements here. And the disagreement that me and Tucker discussed on his show is this. Tucker said it's about policy. It's about Israeli policy. It's about Netanyahu and the neocons. It's not about Jews, Judaism, organized Jewry. It's not about that. And I said, well, of course it is about that. And it's obvious why. And let me just be very clear about this first. Then I'll elaborate on the distinction. What's my real position? This is my real, completely defensible position. Netanyahu and Israel have no power over the United States that is not given to them by American Jewish oligarchs. Let me say that again. Netanyahu and his Likud party and the far right in Israel and the secular government of Israel, they would have no power over the United States if it were not for their American Jewish sympathizers in our oligarchy. The question now is, what are the people going to do? And this is why in 2028, they're taking names, we're taking names too. Hey, newsflash, Mark Levin. They're taking names. Yeah, I'm taking names too. It's all going in the Obsidian files. We are paying very close attention to everybody that is with Israel first and everybody that is with America first. And I promise you, in 2028, we will be there too. And everybody that sides with Israel first, everybody that sides with Mark Levin, everybody that's engaging in cancel culture at their behest, we're going to show up for them too. We're going to show up at their events and we are going to boo them. We're going to show up to every one of their meet and greets and we're going to grill and interrogate them peacefully and politically. We're going to tell people not to vote for them. We will be there too. This is politics. You can have all the money and all the position. You can have CBS and you can have TikTok, but you don't have the truth. You don't have America. You don't own me and you don't own us. And we vote. Fortunately, the money doesn't vote. The people vote. And if the politicians want to get elected, they're going to need our votes. And if your money doesn't buy the votes, well, maybe they won't get elected. That's why I play hardball. That's why I tell people, no, we're not going to hold our nose and vote for whatever. We're not going to hold our nose and vote for whatever the GOP serves up. We will not vote for anybody that is pro-Israel. We will not vote for anybody that continues to support this. We will not vote for anybody that engages in cancel culture on behalf of Levin and the Israel First lobby. We won't go for it. So you're going to have to work that out. Levin is pushing on one side. I'm pushing on the other side. And I'm stronger than you, old man. I'm strong. You might be richer. You might have more money, but I'm stronger than you. That's why you're saying my name at the Republican Jewish Coalition. So bring it on, old man. Bring it on. I'll see you in Iowa, you fat piece of shit. I'll see you, Randy Fine. I'll see Mark Levin in Iowa. Politically, bring it on. We'll see you there. And we'll see who the politicians choose. We'll see who the Republicans choose. Your money and your fucking bullshit are our votes and the truth and America. And we'll see what the decision is.
Yeah, what do you think of all that? I played it in sequence for a reason. So, they pull off with the Hitler thing all the time. They if they don't like what you say, then they call you Hitler. If you're a Jew hater or you don't agree with what Netanyahu's killing people or whoever, whatever, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even have to be Netanyahu. It could be anything that they don't agree with, whoever they are. They call you Hitler. They did that to him. They've done that to Trump. They've done that to, Alex Jones. I mean, the list is long. They just keep doing it, right? If they don't like what you have to say, then they straight up call you a bigot, xenophobic, what's the other one? Transphobic, homophobic, whatever. They have these catchwords that they use to put you in a box, right? Or whatever, right? Well, so I agree. I agree with this. You call us whatever you want. And I also agree with America first. Like just America first. If a time comes, how they say the old saying, if the time comes when our country can stand on its own 2 feet and we're not $38 trillion in the hole, maybe we'll consider, sending a bone here or there. But right now, we shouldn't be sending money for wars or none of that stuff. We should be considering what is going on in our own country. We've talked about the homeless crisis. We've talked about the military. We've talked about, all these different things that's happening because of our own self. We eat our own people. We do. We eat our own. And it's wrong. It's just wrong. We, American people, should be considering our families. We should be considering our children. We should be considering our children's children, not how much money we could send to name it. Who do we send money to everybody? We're like the Save a Ho, Captain Save a Ho. We just got to save everybody. We can't save ourselves. Our asses will be on fire and we'll give them a water hose so they can put themselves out. It makes no sense to me. So in that aspect, I absolutely 100% agree with that. We need to be we need to really be hiring or having representatives that represent us. And we're America first. All over the internet right now, it's MAGA's dying and all this shit. MAGA can die if that's what needs to happen, as long as we can have America first. All those squish Republicans, all those weak, fake, bullshit, lying ass Lindsey Graham, fucking, Ben Shapiro fake, Mark Levin fake, all these people out here, they're all fake. There's a handful of people that believe in the policies that we need to write for our own country so that our own country can stand on its own 2 feet. But instead, I'm putting Trump right in there with it. Instead, we send money and funding to all these other countries, and we can't take care of our own people. Coming up on a year, it's been 10 months, and California fuel, $5. Now, I'll give credit where credit's due. Trump did get our fuel down to $2 a gallon in 16 or 19. I think 2019 we had the best year we had in 40, 50 years. Trump's policies. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen. But we do have this stuff like we have these federal judges saying that the tariffs are going to be removed because they're unconstitutional. How they've come up with that, I don't know. I guess it's a liberal judge, and and Trump has done some stuff to make us strong again. Really has. He's definitely done that. I give him credit where credit's due. But as far as the policies for the foreign policies, I think he does a sucky job. He has not done a good job. Is he saving wars, getting rid of wars, doing all that stuff? That's great. That's great. How much money are we giving him to do that? How much money are we bribing him with to get him to not fight anymore? That's the question. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. Another big question I have. I'm just going to say it right here, right now. Why have we not gotten the Epstein files in a way that we could see what's really going on? Who are we covering up for? Who are we covering up for? We're covering up for something because we know Trump's not in there. We know that. I could say without a doubt Trump's not in the Epstein files. He might be in there, but he's not in there with these little girls and boys and all that bullshit. He's not. He's just not a part of that. We know that because we know that he got rid of Epstein as soon as he found out that he was trying to pimp off or trying to get these little girls that were in Mar-a-Lago. We know this. All you have to do is read between the lines that Trump got rid of Epstein when he found out that that's what he was doing, trying to get these young girls or boys or whatever it was back 20 years ago. We know that. We know that also as soon as Trump found out that he had that first case, Trump wouldn't have anything to do with him after that. And so we know that for sure. We know that. But why? Who are we covering for? We're covering for Lednick. Lednick was Epstein's neighbor, and Lednick's doing an awful lot for our financial markets right now. Are we concerned that if we find out who's in these so-called Epstein files or whatever, that it's going to crash the stock market and it's going to crash all these industries because all the industry heads, the owners of all these industries are in the files? Is that what's going on? I mean, I'm just guessing. It's like Charlie Kirk. We don't know. We just know that he didn't get shot with 30-06. Right. But we have to speculate because we don't get the answers to anything because they think that we're too stupid for the answers. And we're not. We're smarter than that. You know who's stupid is the one thinking that we're stupid. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that one right there. Um, I agree with I agree with Charlie with Nick Fuentes about his take or response to all the stuff that's going on with 2028. And I think that we need to really consider what he's saying and look at it for what it is. We got to stop funding all these, not just Israel, all of it. We need to stop funding it all because all we're doing is burning our tax dollars. Let's take care of ourselves. All right, where we at here? Let's see. Oh yeah, I want to cover the tariffs for a second. I was just doing the thing, going through X earlier, and I came across this one. This one made a lot of sense to me, so I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and run it. It's about the tariffs and what they're doing with the tariffs. So let's just run this real quick. Let me get my screen up here so I don't fuck this up. And then
Donald Trump just announced that he is fully funding the WIC program for new mothers and babies that need supplemental formula and nutrition with the $200 billion he's generated from tariffs. Wait. While Democrats have fought to shut down the government in order to get PBS and NPR fully funded and illegal immigrants' health care, Trump is swooping in with the money that he generated from tariffs to fully fund the WIC program while the Democrats still refuse to reopen the government. This is what I voted for. He's doing it with the tariff money. Yeah, he's not even digging into taxpayer dollars. He's literally feeding women and babies off of the tariffs that your side said were a terrible idea.
so I verified that that's real. That's all over the internet now. That's what he's doing with that money for the WIC program. Um, and now I'd be willing to bet that it's held up right now because of this federal court case with that is stuck with the Supreme Court. That I don't think that they've brought down the judgment on it yet, but it's supposed to have been in the next couple days. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. While Schumer's out there talking about they said let's just continue the budget for another year, which is the reason why we have a shutdown, is because that budget has all this stuff, transgender studies and transgender surgeries and illegal medical for illegals and a whole bunch of other shit, bunch of pork and all that stuff. And that's why we're fighting them anyway, but they want to make it look cute by saying, "Oh yeah, we got a deal for Trump and he won't take it. The Republicans are horrible." They are horrible, but what they're doing right now is they're trying to get our deficit to a down. And how you get it down is you stop funding all this bullshit. Billions of dollars, $200 billion going to illegals for medical. It's ridiculous. So yeah. Now let's listen to what Elon Musk has to say because this is a good one. I mean, because remember he was in charge of Doge, and we never got the full story. So see what he has to say.
The reason you have the standoff is because if the hundreds of billions of dollars to create a financial incentive to have this giant magnet to attract illegals from every part of Earth to these states, if that is turned off, the illegals will leave because they're no longer being paid to come to the United States and stay here.
Wow.
And then they will lose a lot of voters. The Democratic Party will lose a lot of voters.
And they would have a very difficult job if this is kicked out of reintroducing it into a new bill,
Yes.
especially once things start normalizing.
Yes. So, like in a nutshell, the Democratic Party wants to destroy democracy by importing voters, and the Republican Party disagrees with
And
that.
the ruse is that if you don't accept what they're doing, then you're a threat to democracy,
Yes.
as they try to destroy democracy
Yes.
by importing voters.
That is
and
literally what they're
incentivizing
doing.
people to only vote for them and overwhelming the system.
Yes. And by the way, it's a strategy that, if allowed to work, would work, and in fact has worked. California is supermajority Democrat.
Yeah.
And there's so much gerrymandering that occurs. It's crazy.
Yeah. So that answers your question, right? I almost want to watch that again. We're gonna run it again, actually.
The reason you have the standoff is because if the hundreds of billions of dollars to create a financial incentive to have this giant magnet to attract illegals from every part of Earth to these states, if that is turned off, the illegals will leave because they're no longer being paid to come to the United States and stay here.
Wow.
And then they will lose a lot of voters. The Democratic Party will lose a lot of voters.
And they would have a very difficult job if this is kicked out of reintroducing it into a new bill,
Yes.
especially once things start normalizing.
Yes. So, like in a nutshell, the Democratic Party wants to destroy democracy by importing voters, and the Republican Party disagrees with
And
that.
the ruse is that if you don't accept what they're doing, then you're a threat to democracy,
Yes.
as they try to destroy democracy
Yes.
by importing voters.
That is
and
literally what they're
incentivizing
doing.
people to only vote for them and overwhelming the system.
Yes. And by the way, it's a strategy that, if allowed to work, would work, and in fact has worked. California is supermajority Democrat.
Yeah.
And there's so much gerrymandering that occurs. It's crazy.
So yeah, so that makes more sense now. I watched it for like the sixth time. So basically, they're paying, like I said, they're paying the illegal aliens to be here. By the way, you know that when illegals get SNAP benefits, they get double what United States citizens get. You know that, right? They've already shown that to be true. And so the standoff is because if they cut off the money going to the illegal aliens, then they'll leave. And then they'll lose the vote. And it's all of it's about the vote. It's all about the Democrats having the vote to stay in power or to get back in power. So that's what I was saying earlier in the show. That's exactly what it is. Now on the way out here, we got one more. We're just about out for the night, but want to play this this last clip, Charlie Kirk clip, and then we're going to get out of here. But I want to thank everybody for being here, obviously, and please subscribe to the channel and all that stuff. But stand by. We'll come back.
Breaking news this morning. We found more on the Charlie Kirk situation.
Oh, wow. Did they finally admit it was an exit wound?
Not quite. Let's ask our investigators at Jake GTV News.
Good thing normies don't know how strong a 30-06 is, but here's Terry Farnsworth, the dude who took the SD cards, voted sketchiest character of the month. You guys have got to see this.
Okay, so not only does he take the SD cards and breaking news this morning, we found more on the Charlie Kirk situation.
Oh, wow. Did they finally admit it was an exit wound?
Not quite. Let's ask our investigators at Jake GTV News.
Good thing normies don't know how strong a 30-06 is, but here's Terry Farnsworth, the dude who took the SD cards, voted sketchiest character of the month. You guys have got to see this.
Okay, so not only does he take the SD cards and refuse to give it out, he was taking a selfie video and the first to pronounce him dead. Like, what the heck? Just ask Candace.
But this second close friend of Charlie chose to run just a few yards away up to a grassy knoll to take out his phone. A couple of seconds later, he takes out his phone and he begins recording himself.
They just...
Breaking news this morning, we found more on the Charlie Kirk situation.
Oh, wow. Did they finally admit it was an exit wound?
Not quite. Let's ask our investigators at Jake GTV News.
Good thing normies don't know how strong a 30-06 is, but here's Terry Farnsworth, the dude who took the SD cards, voted sketchiest character of the month. You guys have got to see this.
Okay, so not only does he take the SD cards and refuse to give it out, he was taking a selfie video and the first to pronounce him dead. Like, what the heck? Just ask Candace.
But this second close friend of Charlie chose to run just a few yards away up to a grassy knoll to take out his phone. A couple of seconds later, he takes out his phone and he begins recording himself.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
You're probably thinking out loud, what the F did I just watch?
What the F is right?
Okay, so let's get this straight. He was the camera guy, but who hired him?
Definitely not Israel. Like, definitely not.
Yeah.
The chief of staff, Mikey McCoy, was in charge of the setup and seen mid-call walking away just as Charlie is shot. Check it out.
Thanks, Ching Chong. Okay, so there he goes. He's already on the phone call. He's just walking off.
Exactly what they said. It's a closed case. We may not have any confession or evidence, but this is what Charlie would have wanted.
Noticing is antiseptic. Back to you, John.
Great point, Tiffany. This would also be a great time to remind us who we can't criticize. Steineberg, take it away.
Thanks, Goyam. Now, according to my Talmud, you can never undermine our right to rule over you, and if we get caught lying, refer to the pizza cost. It's not easy being chosen.
Thanks, Steinberg. Ever since Kash Patel covered up the Epstein files, we knew we could count on him for this.
What a remarkably efficient cover-up.
Right, Candace?
Regarding Kash Patel showing his face there, I legitimately do not know how these people do it, okay? I would literally die from shame. I would pass away, right, immediately from shame before I would show up to that event if I was Kash Patel.
That's absolutely based, Candace.
Straight up, this just in, Shapiro-Stein said you're not invited to our news program and stop questioning the FBI.
Yeah, it's definitely Tyler. Like, definitely. Case closed.
It's an honor to be here with you today as the 9th director of the FBI. I want to provide by providing a briefing into the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. We were able to extract video from the campus feed. A few hours later, that suspect was in custody, pursuant to the interrogation of the suspect's own father, who stated, "When I saw that video that you released, I recognized it was my son, and I confronted him, and he was handed over to lawful law enforcement authorities."
Is this a new breed of human that I don't know about? Where you feel nothing, there's just nothing. It's like a Josh Hammer thing. They don't feel any sense of shame at all, and they can just go, 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 go. I truly don't understand it because I have to be a different species from whatever that is. I would melt. I'd rather melt into the floor than show my face, knowing how badly I was dropping the ball. The whole world was dropping the ball.
Shut it down, Candace. Shapiro-Stein, shut her antiseptic butt back to the safari.
Just because we fired you, Candace, doesn't mean you can come back and spread your antiseptic journalism. Spiritual discernment gets you absolutely fired in the real world. Now, back to you, Goyam.
Finally, the adults are in charge, and it's going to be the most transparent administration ever, except on the Jeffrey Epstein stuff or the Charlie Kirk stuff, who was a friend of the administration.
Shut it down, Candace. You think you come onto my show and spread your antiseptic rhetoric? You obviously haven't heard of Jackie. Ha ha ha, you're so cooked.
Oh no, producer Berg's cranky again.
Yeah, personally, I think Charlie got JFK'd, but what do I know?
I think it was more like MLK Jr. because we're too busy saying, I have a dream.
That's a funny joke, Rebecca. Why don't you pack your things and head outside? Producer Berg is waiting for you with a pager. Now, Goyam, I want you to meet Daisy. Daisy, welcome to the team.
Israel is our greatest ally.
Holy wow, when did we hire you?
The USS Liberty and Holodomor was a figment of your imagination.
Yeah. Oh, great. Degeneracy. We're no better than them. Anyway, if you're not following Jake GTV by now, your parents were popping Tylenol like Skittles. You're retarded. Okay, so there he picks up his phone.
He's already on the phone call.
He's just casually walking off.
All right, thank you for being here. What a night. Thank you for being here. God bless everybody. Hey, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Share this information with everyone you know. Please use all this information. Share it with people so that they get the information. I think it's important that we all do our best to get this information out wide. And I will see you again on next Friday for sure. Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Friday Night Live. God bless everybody and good night.